As promised, we are live. I told you I'd be back. I did tell you I was coming back, didn't I? So, before I get started, I want to address something. So, friends, let me first check. This is really important. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So, friends, I got to check for audio. And this is really important. So, I just did an hour-long live stream, and there were people watching the whole time. Nobody told me there was no audio. Now, it's flattering. I'm glad that you enjoyed watching, even though you couldn't hear what I was saying. But in the future, if you're watching a live stream and there's no audio, it's most definitely not the broadcaster's intention, because we're out here talking and sharing so that you can hear what's being said. And I know how many people are watching because I have a little counter that shows me in real time who's watching. So there were people watching an hour-long live stream with no audio. Friends, we don't have to do it like that. I want to know if you're ever watching a live stream of mine and there's no audio, please say something in the chat. If you can't hear, somebody's voice is too low, too soft, you need to tell me. Speak up. Please don't just watch a live stream with no audio and don't say anything. This is meant to be an interactive experience, okay? So now let me check to see if I have audio now. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. So I see that I have audio, but I don't hear it when I check the stream. Why? Why can't I hear this audio? I should hear music. Still no audio. Okay. Let me try something else. Okay. Just checking. Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera and then I'm going to go and check my audio. Let's see. I've got it. And the music in the back. You can hear me. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Alias. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was literally going to go into another room in my house and check the audio. Whew. Thank you so much. It's like, this is why I say, like, you got to have friends. You got to have someone who's willing to tell you the hard things like, hey, you ain't got no audio, man. So big shout out. I just want to say thank you so much to my friend Alias, who's let me know that I can be heard. Thank you. Means a lot. All right, now we can get rolling with the show. Big thanks to you. Alias, if you have an Ethereum address, feel free to throw it into the YouTube comments, or you can send me a message on Twitter and I'll send you a gift. I really appreciate you. You saying? Yay! Yes, you're the best. Okay, yeah. So if you can, like, if you have MetaMask or your Ethereum wallet of choice, you're saying, what do I mean? Oh, you do? Okay, excellent. Yeah, send me your Ethereum wallet address and I'll drop you a gift today. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for helping me with my live stream. Big shout out to you. So, my friends, so let me get back to this really fun thing here. And I've got a new friend here who hooked me up. Hey! This makes me really happy. Not only do they have an Ethereum address, but they got the ENS as well. Oh yes. Oh, and you're on YouTube? Okay, gotta hook us up with your YouTube channel. Tell us your channel so we can all follow you. I'm gonna definitely give you a follow. So let's see. Oh my gosh. Not only a fellow Ethereum friend, an ENS friend, also another live streamer on YouTube. So everybody, go on YouTube and we're looking for Alehias. And I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but it looks like Alias or Alias. But we want to follow our friend and give them some follow, give them the subscribe, give them some, some hearts on their latest videos. This is what I do, just everyone. When I have a friend, I always ask a new friend, I say, do you have a YouTube channel? And then I subscribe to their channel, and then I go and I put comments and hearts on the first few videos. It only takes a few minutes. It's like the least that we can do. It really does help a lot. So I'll be sure to do that. And I want to thank you again for streaming. And yes, it is seriously, it's an issue when we don't have feedback for audio. There's certain things that it's hard to do alone. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I said it right. All right. Oh, yes. Okay. That's what's up. So that's what's up. Everyone go follow our new friend, Alias. You're so welcome. You make it easy. So, my friends, okay, now we're back. I'm so sorry for the last broadcast. I had no audio. I feel really sad about it because I was really sharing deep too, but I'll just go over quickly what I did. So, in the last stream, I made the candles flicker, and I'm really so sorry, friends, that you missed it because it's pretty epic. Let me find it and show you. Where is it? Where? Let's see. Okay, here we go. So what you missed was this. In the last scene, I showed you that I was going to animate this. I want to animate the flickering candle flames, and I also want to animate her eyes and this little face in the background. I explained that the way that I do things is to... So like, I love candles. I actually love candelabras. And I showed this last time. This is I have a candelabra on my desk, just like in the image there. So this is a candle for my candelabra. I just want to show you. I'm not faking the funk. I really do have candelabras everywhere. And one thing I noticed about candles is the flames don't flicker all at the same time. And so that's why I did not put these flickering candle flames all on the same layer. I want to be able to control each individual flickering flame, So let me just give you a little show real quick. I also animated the face. So the first thing I want to do is turn these on and show you what I did. I feel really so sorry that you missed this last thing because I really went deep in the presentation, but don't worry, I'll do it again. So the first thing that I showed you is that I created a foundation. The foundation layer is really important because it's the layer from which everything else springs forth. One of the things I think is the most important thing that I shared on the last stream is how to save time. The way to get really good at something is to do a lot of it, and to do a lot of it in fast succession. So that means, like, if you animate a piece, don't wait a whole week to animate your next piece. Jump on it and start animating it right away. It's like you build up a momentum of understanding things, and there is a definite energy that comes into play when you make it your business to get into doing something. So for myself personally, whenever I do something, anything, after the experience, I check in with myself and I say, wow, that was great, or wow, that sucked ass. How can I make it better? But even when something was great, I say, how can I improve this, right? And so when it comes to like my animation, and I ask myself, how can I improve? What, improvement, that's like so generic, it could be anything. And I said, the biggest elevation would be if I could do this faster. If I could animate faster, that would be an improvement, the best improvement, because then it's not the same as scaling, but it's just more faster, right? I could do more artworks in my lifetime if I could animate them faster, okay? And so I look to see, where can I save time? Now, that's not the same thing as where can I cut corners. Where can I save time is really a question of, where can I be more efficient with what I'm doing, right? And again, it's wide open. But one thing I realized is that I was spending a good portion of time recorrecting or correcting anomalies that I discover during the animation phase, or just before they animate, in the pre-animation phase, right? In the pre-programming phase. So as I'm making this interactive artwork, there are different phases that it goes through. Number one is I have to have the base image, the image that inspires me in the first place. And in this case, it's this one right here, right? This is a woman. Life is a box of chocolates. Well, her whole life is she's in a whole store of chocolates, except for there's this guy right here. And I think it's fun because it's all about the season. We're having fun here. Everyone's getting clown burgers. So it's essential for me, if I want to animate that little face, which I do, to be able to animate just the little face so that there's not too much distraction going on in the rest of the picture that you don't notice what's happening with the little face. Same with her eyes. I'm going to animate her eyes, right? But when I animate her eyes, I don't want a whole bunch of other stuff also happening at the same time in the frame. I want to focus on her eyes, right? There's different ways that I can achieve directing the viewer's gaze to where I want them to go, right? One of the things that I discussed in the other live stream was using light, even taking some of the light out of the image to direct your vision to where I want you to go. So one of the first things I did was, let me show you the original image. The original image is actually this OG layer. I'm going to show you. So this is the original image, and you might think it looks very similar to the other one, except for it's really not, because this does not have my 3D shading. I mean, there is 3D shading already, but the final layer that really helps things pop, that last little bit, it's not on this OG layer. So let me turn off these other layers and show you. So this is the OG layer. As you see, it's pretty bright. Now, this is not the layer that's my foundation layer. This is my foundation layer. And as you see, it's subtly different, right? And so by subtracting some of the light, I accentuated her breasts because that's hot. And I also made some of these chocolate boxes in the background pop out just a little bit. It might seem like these things don't make a difference, but they really do. And in the previous video, I even showed you that I create the shadowing using multiple layers so that I can really dial in how much depth or how much shadow is being seen. Being able to do something like that is helpful when you're animating. So I created a video of the flickering flames already, but what I can show you is I created different layers in each of these candles in the upper left-hand corner of the image I'm working with, this one here. Each of these candles is on their own layer. So this is like flicker flame 1. See? Second, here's the second one. Third, fourth, third rather. and then the fourth. Why does this matter? That's not all. I didn't stop there. I also created an alternate flicker for each of these. So this is a flicker flame 2. And so how it looks is, let me pick this one maybe. You have 3 modes. There's like 3 different modes. This one, and this one. See this? 1, 2, oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3. And I do that because I want to have at least 3 different modes. So each of these candles has 3 different layers just to control the flame on the candle. And the reason why I do that is because I wanted to create a somewhat natural looking flame when I play this. Now, unfortunately, I can't play it for you live because I've already gone on to animate something else. But what I can do is I can show you what the animation looks like in the finished GIF. Maybe I'll do that later. But I am actually going to publish this so you can see it when the animation is live. What I did is I moved on to work on the face. I can show you the face. So here is the foundation layer for the face, right? This is the resting face. And I wanted to animate this face. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see more what the face is doing. And so here's the resting face. And hold on. So here's the resting, here's the resting face. And this is like a partial expression. So he goes from 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let's see. I think I want to put this under here. So when we're animating, like the order in which we show things, it changes how things look, right? So for example, see if I can show you this now. Okay, this should work. Take this off. So if you're looking at the little face in the background, now I thought this was really funny because it makes it look like he's talking a little bit. And so it gave me this idea that I may use this scene where his face is moving like that to make him say something. When I program this art to become interactive, I'm not sure what phrase I'm going to use, but I think what I'm going to do is have this little character in the box actually say something, or maybe he'll even sing something. So when you type in the secret phrase or when you do the secret mouse gesture, this is what's going to happen. But you know, the thing is that in the past when I do interactive artwork, I'm using GIFs. These are soundless clips, right? But this, I want this to have sound. So in this instance, I would want to create an MP4. And what I shared in the last video also is that how I created the flickering flames, that is a frame by frame animation. If I want this face to move, but also have the flickering flames at the same time, I'm going to need to superimpose one image over the other and use a mask to cover up the face that's not moving so that we have the full image reveal of the flickering flames animated. And then I'm essentially creating a mask over the still face of this talking face. It can get pretty complex, but that's essentially what I'm going to do. I took this as far as I could to show you. Opening the other program and doing all the superimposing and all that stuff is really too much for a live stream. I don't think that my computer really could handle it. So, so I've gone as far as I can there, showing that. Okay. But let me show you some of these other things here. I think we can get into, let's see. We want to, I think I showed this also. I showed this, which is going to be dropping soon. I really love this. On this one, I animated her joint smoke, and she's got a rolled cigarette there. We don't know what's inside, but I animated the smoke from whatever it is. And also I animated the chopper, the top of the chopper. This, I can show you some of what it looks like. This is not the finished exactly, but there you can see that the chopper flings are moving, her smoke is moving, this is not the finished image, but I'm just kind of showing you like how it does look. And we control the speed here. There are a lot of different ways to do this. As I said, this is not the finished image. I already did finish this project. It's already been exported. I think there's like some frames missing in this particular iteration. A lot of times I make multiple documents because when I get into animating, it just gets really like, it can get really detailed. Like I create different shadows. So here you go, like this. When it is dark, it's got this look. When it's not as dark, it's got this look. So as you can see, like as I continue going on, I end up with a lot of different layers. So a lot of times the document that I end up using to make the animation layer is not the same document that I use to create all the layers. This is a document that I use to create all the layers. So that's why I couldn't play it for you succinctly. So let's see what else we have. So many beautiful animations that are really fun. Here's one that I love. So this is Pearl, as you can see by her name tag. Zombie apocalypse is going strong. They're still serving food. This is important. I think, if you're not a zombie, you definitely want to have some pizza. And I have animated her as well. Now, this animation is not complete yet, but let's see what I've done so far. Let's see. Oh, okay. So here, I've got this going off. This is like, I want to have these flickering lights. Okay? And this is my favorite. So this makes her, she's panting, right? And the next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make her chest heave too, like that. So I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to, so let me show you in the background. Got the zombies and the partial zombies going on. So you can see like, this is like with my shadow, I say like the shading, it really does make a difference. This is with my shading. This is without the shading. To me, this makes a huge difference. And the further you zoom out, the more you can see. That shading to me brings it to life. It adds depth to her uniform. It adds depth, get a little crease underneath the boobage there. And just in general, like brings out all the nastiness of the zombies. You know what I'm saying? So this is one thing. Now I think with this image, I want to do some really fun things. Like I think the skulls need to look at each other. I think they need to wiggle. This is again another piece of interactive art. So when I look at this piece, I've got to decide like what things do I want? What things do I want to see? There's this guy in the background, what is he going to be doing? We haven't decided. There's a lot that can happen. I even thought about, making this bottle like squish down and squish out, but that wasn't really that exciting. And for me, I like to do a bit of storytelling with my art. So even though I can make the bottle squish and stuff squish out, like it was just kind of a dead thread. It was like, okay, yeah, you can do that, but why? And I think that's something really important to think about as we're creating interactive art. So one of the first inspirations for me for creating interactive art actually happened years ago. And I just want to give a shout out to Transient Labs. Thank you so much for making available your amazing dynamic art engine. Your DAE is the bomb. I love it so much. So my first inspiration to make interactive art actually came from Chainlink. I went to Miami Hack Week in 2022, or was it 2021? I don't remember which was my first year, but Miami Hack Week, and that's where I was first introduced to Chainlink. They sponsored like some really cool stuff there. And so when I came back from Miami Hack Week, I had to like dig all into their channel. I watched every tutorial and everything because Chainlink is basically an oracle. It's a way of taking off-chain things and putting them on-chain so that I could, if I wanted to, find an oracle, meaning for anyone who doesn't know what an oracle is. Oh, wait, looks like I've got some comments. Let me see. Haha, all right on. So So basically, if anyone doesn't know what an oracle is a constant source of information. It's like a place where you can check and see whatever you need. How the same way that you might look at your watch to find out what time it is, the watch is your oracle for the time. Right? So Chainlink is an oracle for like many, 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 many things. They're constantly sourcing data and finding a way to put it on chain. So what's special about that is it's a way to create dynamic artwork that is alive, right? So this artwork that I'm creating is interactive. But once I program it, it's only going to do the things that I tell it to do, right? So there are some things that I can tell it to do that happen on a cycle. So if I create artwork that's programmable by the hour of the day, well, that's something that happens every day. So in that way, it will seem to be alive, but it's still operating on that same program. It can only go to those same places. It can only touch those same points every day. However, if I use an oracle that is attached to like something that is alive, something that is transitory, something that's going to change, like for example, if I were to attach it to like the price of Bitcoin, right? And so then I would create something called an array. And then I would tell my program something like, if the price of Bitcoin falls between X and Y, show this image, image A. If the price of Bitcoin falls between Y and Z, show this image, image B, right? So in this way, in a certain sense, the artwork is not fully alive, right? Because it still can only show, it's limited to the artworks that I program it to. You see what I mean? However, because every single day the price of Bitcoin doesn't hit the same places every day, it won't be the same as as the experience of art that changes with the hours of the day. Because every single day we have the same hours, right? But the price of Bitcoin fluctuates wildly. And so from one day to the next, you're pretty much guaranteed not to see the same thing all the time at the same time. Even though the project itself is cycling through a series of images, there is some unexpectedness to when you'll see what image. You're not guaranteed to see the same image every day at 2 p.m. So that's why it's exciting to program with oracles. And the more complexity that we add to our interactions and the more complexity we add with things like oracles, the more exciting the art can be. Right? But here today, the things that I think about is like what would be fun and what would make sense. The reason why I started telling you that Chainlink story is because a lot of times we might know some technology exists. We might know that we can do something specific with it. However, it's like sometimes the first idea that we have of how to use something isn't the best. So like the early examples I saw of like animating art with oracles was not exciting because it was doing something, but the thing it was doing wasn't really telling a story. It would be kind of like if I made this bottle like squish and I made stuff squirt out of it. As a storyteller, the question is, okay, but why did it do that? There needs to be a reason why it does that. So, for example, if I take Pearl and I swell up her boobs, like I'm gonna do, because it's hot, so when she's panting, right, I might make her boobs go big, right? And then they're going to go small and big and small. So it looks like she's breathing, right? Now, if I was to make like a super boob thing and make her boobs like really big, like as though she took like a giant breath and her boobs got so big that made it, affected the bottle, right? Then that would make sense. If her boobs got so big, it knocked over the bottle and some stuff squished out. Okay, now that's part of the storytelling. She's panting. She got so excited that she took an extra deep breath and her boobs knocked over this bottle of hot sauce. It's ridiculous, but it could happen. And so like that kind of storytelling makes sense. But the bottle itself crushing into itself and squishing makes no sense. So that's what I'm saying. If I were to take one of these skulls and make it jump out of its basket, and knock over the bottle, that makes sense. So I'm saying, so as we're looking at art and I'm looking at which pieces to animate, these are the kinds of things that I consider. Let's look at another piece and we'll decide what I'm going to animate and we'll do it together. So here's one of my other artworks that I love. So this is from a series called you are friend, right? The idea of the concept is based on my love for interactive stories. See, when I was a kid, I went to a garage sale. It was an estate sale with my parents, and it just opened up so many new worlds for me. I got so much exposure to new things. And so, like I say, I was a kid and I had a kid's allowance. It's not a lot. And, I was looking for something to spend. So at this estate sale, of course, like, I'm a nerd. I went straight for the books, and I discovered, like, so many choose your own adventure stories. I don't think I'd ever seen them before. But I love this idea of being able to decide what happens next in a story. And in a way, that's kind of my inspiration also for this interactive art. Now, it's not the same thing as choosing your own adventure because I am only giving you so many choices, but each time you change the scene, you're showing a different part of the story. Um, but I think it's really fun, and I think it definitely elevates the artwork to be thoughtful about what can you animate in this, because there's some images that I love, but the things that I can think of to animate doesn't really tell a great story. So let's look at this and see. Now, one thing that we can always do is we can always animate the eyes. I love animating the eyes. Um, you know, especially like I love, especially with the aliens, I love giving them like different color flashing eyes. That's something I can do. This particular kind of eye, to really make it look at you or me or our character here, I would have to give it a pupil so that it could, be really discernible where it's looking. But to me, giving these aliens pupils like human eyes, that ain't the business, because aliens maybe have different kind of eyes. But we know we can definitely like change the color, make these eyes light up. Now these are really big eyes. I could also create a light inside, make them go hearts. I love to do that. It's like something from, Looney Tunes, when Bugs Bunny sees something that he loves, how his eyes turn to hearts, right? So we could do that too with the aliens, or they could also show stars or something else, right? So that's one thing. We can animate this character and have him look at us. I can create a different scene entirely. So also interactive art doesn't necessarily have to be about animation. It can also be about like changing states. So for example, I'm not saying I will, but I might create a scenario where the shelves in the background, all the food is gone. Because if there's a zombie apocalypse or an alien apocalypse, as you can see, there's something going on in Friendville because our friend looks really jacked up right now. So he's probably been like running from aliens. He looks like he's a bit shell shocked. He's obviously half turned into a zombie. So like, he's dehydrated. He's looking for sustenance. But I'm saying, there's a lot of food on these shelves, and I think some of that food needs to go away. So that might be one of the things I do is take away a lot of that food, show the empty shelves. You know, um, that's definitely a thing. Here, there's like this pizza on the counter. I can take some all, or I can take some or all the slices away. I can take the whole pizza off the counter, maybe. These drinks, I could get rid of those, the food under the counter. So oops, I can change what the register says, right? So these are some things I can do here. Let's look at another image and see what else I could do that's better. Let's see. Do we want to stick with okay. Let's see. Let's look at this one. All right. So here's another character. This is Now this could be interesting. So what I've been doing is I've been animating frame by frame, which means like I've been making like subtle changes to the artwork and then creating a GIF from that. But there's other ways I can do this as well, including, so like the way I've been doing this is not using AI to animate. I have not. I've been doing it manually, but I definitely could use AI to enhance this image, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll make the bird fly. Maybe I'll make the bird land. But one thing I know I can do manually is I can create eyeballs for these skulls and make them look at each other. It's like one of my favorite things to do is, and again, this comes from like my early inspiration is cartoons. Oh my gosh, love early morning cartoons. Love, love, love. And, skeletons looking at each other is just so funny. right? So especially when they're looking at each other when you're not looking. So that's one thing I could do is add eyeballs and animate these. Now in this scene, there's like a lot of stuff, more skeletons, but as far as like animation, the only thing I see that really makes sense is like the birds and the skulls. And other than them looking at each other, it doesn't seem like there's like a super much I could do. This, if I were to animate it, would be more about just bringing it to life a little bit. So, for example, could have her look at you. I could have her. This is what I'm gonna do actually. Is I think this scene here, the move is to have this main character make eye contact with the skulls. She's gonna look down at them, and then maybe they're gonna look up at her, right? So that's one thing. So this is something. This is like a definitely a part of the creative process because everything doesn't make a great animation. Here's one of my pieces that I'm getting ready to put on. So I talked about artwork that changes with the time of day. Here's one, okay? So this is the king, right? This is like, so one thing I did was this. So he looks at you. Here, I'll go in a bit so you can see. This is like one of the first things I did is I love that you can have him look at you, right? And then you can see that the scene gets lighter and lighter and lighter. I think, that is part of so when it's at nighttime, it will be dark. And as the sun comes out and it gets lighter and lighter, it will go lighter and lighter and lighter. And I can amplify the light by adding a different mode. Like, for example, screen adds more light. So actually, I would have two modes, right? When it's dark, like at midnight, maybe it will look like this. And as it gets into the wee hours, it will look like this and like this and like so, right? Maybe at noon, it's like this. And then as it gets darker and goes into the afternoon, some of the light will fade. And then before you know it, we're back to the darkness. So I'm achieving this live for you, just moving the sliders around. But in reality, I will have to create a number of these images with the different lighting, and then I will have to put them in the right order and program them so that I'm going to program them using Transient Labs dynamic art engine so that how the piece works is, and I'll show you this when we go into the Transient Labs DAE, dynamic art engine. The program is going to check to see what time it is. And based on that, it's going to choose an image to show you. So if you look at it at midnight, it's going to look different than if you look at it at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. So that's like one of these great things. And then as far as whether or not Pepe is looking at you, I probably will use a secret word for that. Or maybe a toggle tap. We'll see. We'll see. So that's one. Let me see, what else do I have? This is another one. I feel like there's not enough female representation. And this is part of the reason why I really embraced this meme. I've been in the space since 2021, and I never made any meme art, not even one piece, until there was this opportunity to go to Pepe Fest. When Beeple said he was having a party and it was going to be Pepe Fest, I was definitely making some frogs, okay? Because I wanted to go to Beeple Studios, meet the man himself, and have some of that fun. So it was the first time that I ever took any interest in meme art. And now I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. And every time I see another Pepe, I love it more. And I realize now that creating on a meme is really phenomenal because it's really allowed me to see the different personalities of all of my friends. No amount of conversation can ever really show you what's in a person's heart or mind like their art, right? A person's humor comes out. Jokes they don't even know how to tell with words will come out in an artist's art. Sensualities, frustrations, victories, resentment, it all comes out in an artist's art. And nowhere is it more highlighted, the differences and disparities in people's experiences, than when we're all riffing on the same theme. It's like Pepe has a very distinct look. So how is it possible that every single one of them we create is so different? It's coming from inside the artist. It's what's so fantastic about this meme is that it really lets you show off all of your ideas and your messages and all the things you think to express it through this theme. To me, really helps it stand out. So I've really been loving this. But one thing I notice is it's like I'm a woman. I want the art that I'm looking at to represent me. I don't feel represented by art that's dudes, even if it is a frog. It looks like a boy frog, and I'm a girl. I want to see some girl frogs. So I set about making female iterations, and here's one. And like the last piece, this is an interactive piece that changes with the time of day. So this is not a piece that you would control. This is a piece that is controlled by its own program. And it's going to get lighter and darker as the day goes on. So just like the last piece I showed you, you turn some of these layers on. I think this is the... Oh. Okay. So here I added some iridescence. And I think I may have already transferred this to another piece to create the animation. So let's see if I can find it. Yeah. This one? Nope, that's the original. Maybe I can just show you on a different artwork. I created a few that lighten and darken. Yeah, this one I know is finished too. So, no, I already transferred all these out. So a lot of times, like if I finish an animation, I transfer it out completely so that I don't go back and think I haven't done it. But let me see if there's another one. I can just show you. I'll just make up another one and show you. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. Whoops. Okay, this is the Galfa. Are you ready for the Galfa? Oh, this is the wrong layer to duplicate. Hold on. Let me see. That's not the one I want. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to put it on multiply. And so essentially, I just gave you some super fat Galfa. If you're watching, I just showed you how to take an image from dark to light. This is a trick that you can use. I shouldn't say trick. This is a method, a practice that you can use. So this is how I make my images from dark to light. There's more than one way to do this, but this is how I do it. Is I've gone in and I've created a duplicate layer and I put this on multiply. I go in with my slider and I can control the lightness and the darkness. This is how I test to see if it is going to look the way I want it to look inside the dynamic art engine. So at midnight, if you were to look at this artwork, at midnight, it's going to look like this. And as the hours go from midnight to 1, 2, 3 a.m., so on, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And then here's some more Galfa. I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer. And I'm going to change the blend method to screen. Okay. Turn off this layer. Screen, hold on. Screen usually adds light. Let me see. Oh, this is not. Hold on. Maybe I needed to do this other layer. Yeah. So let me just delete this. Okay, so now you can see, so when I duplicate the layer and I put it on the screen blend mode, it adds light. So in this way, I can test to see what will it look like. So at midnight, it will look like this. And as it goes from midnight to 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, goes like this. And as the day progresses, hold on, It will go from here, go brighter and brighter and brighter, and maybe this is what it looks like at broad daylight. High noon will be like this. And then as the time goes on, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 or 5. And then it's getting darker, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight. Right? So this is how I achieve this. And what I do is I create multiple images with the different light sources, different light settings. And then I use those images to program the artwork so that when the program checks to see what time it is, it's going to display a perfect cross. It's going to display a perfect crossfade based on time. It's going to be based on the percentage of time left in the day is going to determine how much of the top image and how much of the bottom image is showing. So essentially, I have the high contrast brightest image, and then I have the high contrast darkest image. And I'm basically affecting a crossfade that's allowing you to see more and more and more of the lighter image as we get into the day. So that's the way that this image works. And there are some other features as well. But let's see. What else do we want? Who else would like who we would like to animate today? Oh, I know what I could show you. Here is an image that changes at the time of day, but it's not a crossfade. And I can show you that here. Here we go. Okay. So this image, the way that it works is depending on the time of day, you're going to see 1, 2, or 3 of these characters, each in their own outfit. And the moon itself also will change. So this is a situation where you can tell it's going to, like, the moon will sometimes be big, sometimes it will be small, and whether or not you see 1, 2, or 3 of the Pepe characters. These are the different iterations. And again, like, this image is very limited in scope as far as interactivity in this particular state because there's not a lot in the image, right? The only thing I really can do is make them look at each other, make them look at you. I can change the lighting. I can change the size of the moon and the position. So it's another thing too, is I've done is change the position of where the moon is or where that planet is. We don't even know if it's a moon or what, but where that planet or whatever is in the background. So a lot of times I might animate something and then decide, it's not that exciting. So, it may or may not come to be on that contract. Here's a perfect example. Like here's this character, right, that I've created. This is from You, Our Friend, and so I love this. I just think gross things are so funny. So, I really, really love this. But if you think about like, what can I animate? Again, like there's not a lot in the scene. I'm showing you all these things because I want you to learn. If you want to animate, I think it's really good to like think ahead of time what you want to achieve with your animation. It will help you choose the right image. Because there's nothing worse than creating what you think is a perfect image and then you realize it's really boring to animate. So like this is not a good, even though this Pepe is super cute. I'm not saying that he's not good to animate because he's definitely coming alive. Like I can change his expressions. So this is what it's all about. It's about leveraging the artwork that you've got and choosing the right things to make it do. So, this is an artwork, he's in an abstract background. He's in the fog. He's delivering your pizza. It's a foggy night. So it's not like I can animate anything behind him except for I could put some more rolling fog, right? Now, if I want to, what I could do with an additional program, if I take something like, Cinema 4D or some other thing, I can have people walking behind him. I can do all kinds of stuff and create a whole scene. But we'll go back to the original. Does this make it better? Does this make it more interesting? And my answer is no. It doesn't. So this motherfucker walking behind him, like, so what? Okay, like it's cool, but it's not like, oh wow. I'm going for oh wow. So for me, oh wow would be like, first of all, I want him to look at me. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is animate his eyes so that he looks at me. I want him to also be able to look down at the pizza, right? So this is like an oh wow, because eye contact is huge. Okay. Um, what else? Now, I might with AI animate this further and have the pizza box open up. And who knows what's going to happen, what's inside. Probably not just pizza. Maybe I'll have the pizza box open and something, but I'm not going to do that manually. It will take me a really long time. Today, I'm just focusing on things that I can do manually. Because I'm mincing this on the Transient Labs 7160 smart contract, which is a dynamic smart contract, it allows me to add more art to the same token. It means that as I continue, so like today, I can animate his eyes and I can change his expression. I can make him smile. I can make him frown, look down at the pizza box. I can do all of these things relatively easily manually. And I'm going to do that today. But let's say I know we want to see what kind of pizza that is. We want him to open the box. Now that's something that I'm going to animate with AI. It will take me far less time and it will be probably more creative than anything I would have come up with myself. And hey, that's not putting myself down in any way. AI is creative as fuck. And if you don't think so, you just haven't played with it enough. There's been plenty of times where AI has done something that I never would have thought of. So collaborations with AI, especially when it comes to like simple things like opening a pizza box or whatever, I highly recommend it because time is our most precious commodity. And if you're an artist or a screenwriter or you flip tacos or whatever you do, if you can do more in less time, you're winning in life because time is our most precious commodity. So I really highly recommend if there's some way to animate something using AI, do it. So I would not attempt to animate this pizza box manually, but the eyes and those things, definitely I would. So I can do that. I think that's like, I think this image right here, I think the money shot is, facial expressions, maybe for him to like do like a greeting face or a confused face or something like that would be it. Sometimes, it doesn't have to be like major to be interesting. Here's another one. She's so cute, isn't she? Ah! So with this one, I mean, obviously we want to like make her hair blow. And of course we can have her look at you. She can look at her cat. Her cat can look up at her. The cat can look at you. Maybe have some cloud motion in the background. I think that is like par for this one. And, we can also like add features. Like I say, if I want to, another thing I could do is I could expand the shot as well. But the thing is to understand like how these work, it all depends on what format I use. So if I'm creating GIFs with these different setups, then they're going to loop. And it's important to keep that in mind because a looping animation is only cool if it's seamless. And if someone is doing a repeated motion that doesn't make sense, it definitely takes one out of the story. So, the hair blowing in the breeze can easily be a loop. And her eye motion and the motion of the cat, the looks can also be a loop, extremely slowed down. If I were, for example, to make these characters blink, in this particular instance, I might first try it with AI. There are a lot of different textures and stuff here. Making the cat blink would be relatively easy because the cat's eyes are in shadow. But when it comes to my witch here, there is like a certain kind of moonlight and things that's bouncing off, and I could recreate this manually. I do have the skill, but it would take me a much longer time. An AI can probably do it in just a few seconds. So again, this to me is a job for AI, at least to try it. And then we'll see like, how it turns out. Sometimes things don't work. It's all very experimental. And that's why I say, Never disparage anyone for the tools they use. Unless you use the tools yourself in exactly the same way, you really don't know what goes into an artwork. And in a way, that's why I'm doing this proof of work. I heard this dumb artist one time say that AI artists are not artists. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. So here's the last one I'll show you for now before we get animating. This one I've done already. This is one of my favorites. I haven't dropped it yet, but I'm going to drop it today. So as you see, I have lots of artworks that I've prepared that are ready to be programmed. So this one here, there's this with the alien eyes on. So of course, the alien eyes flash. We've got these monsters in a jar over here on the left. And what's happening there is sometimes there's a lot of monsters in the jar, and sometimes there's not. Let's see. Oh, I got some lightning. I see an anomaly as well. I can turn off the lights. And let's see. Oh, sail. Hold on. Ah. Hold on one second. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So this is the image, right? Everything's fine, everything's fine. And then I have this. I call this frame sail because some of the monsters are gone. This is one of those interactive pieces that will change depending on what time it is, but not with the crossfade. This will just change with the time. So the idea here, the storytelling part, is that early in the day, he had all these monsters in the jar and so on. But now when it gets toward the end of the day, some of the monsters in the jar have been sold, and some of these little sticks in the register have also been depleted. If you see these little sticks sticking out on the counter, they've also been depleted. And here I can turn the alien's eyes on and off. I can make it dark in here, and some other things. I don't want to spoil it all for you, but this is one that I thought was really super fun. And I especially had fun with these super cute monsters in the jar. I mean, what? Come on. I also had fun creating these delicious food items. I mean, who doesn't want Big Dick pizza sauce anyway? Because you got to put some sauce on that Big Dick, right? You've got the tender ego bites. We've got greedy guts. Sprinkle a little bit of that on your food. Oh, we got rage, but it's not your typical rage. This is mostly misplaced rage. Sprinkle that on your pizza. We got smoked brains by Alltop. Sounds good. Fresh crust dreams. Oh, I had some of those. And who knows what that is, but if it's on sale, maybe just pick it up. Coculo. Sounds delicious. Not really. And so this is this image. We've got Hefe and these cute aliens. They let you know what's going on. So this is one that's interactive, and there are some other like subtle changes that I did like in the background with the machine. Sometimes like when I make it dark, I also made some of the food disappear, like people had been in buying some things. So this is just an example to show you. But again, and I feel so sorry if you didn't see the first video, and if you did, I am extra sorry since it didn't have any audio. But this is one of those situations too where, depending on how you're going to make it interactive, depends on is going to affect how you're going to change it up. So if it's going to just change by the hour, if the program is going to look and see, is it 2 o'clock? Show this image. Is it 3 o'clock? Show this image. If that's the interactivity that I plan to program, then I can do those cool things like make the food in the background disappear. However, I would not want to prepare the images like that if I were going to use a program like Crossfade, because Crossfade is going to show one image superimposed over the other. It's going to show a percentage show a percentage of one. And so that would not give us the desired effect. Instead, you'd see like hazy looking food instead of no food at all. We want to see either food or no food at all. So this is a situation where I'm going to put this in to program it so that at a certain time, it's going to show this one. At a certain time, it's going to show that one. And it will be like this every day. Every day at 3 o'clock, there's going to be so many monsters in there. Every day at 9 o'clock, there's going to be the same number of monsters in there until I update, upgrade the animation, the whole project itself, which I can do on this very cool Transient Labs 7160 smart contract because it's dynamic. I can continually update, evolve this, and continually drop it to the same token holder. So just some scenarios there. And this is a work of art I'm really proud of. And I want to give a shout out to Big Comic Art, who actually owns this artwork. Thank you so much for collecting this piece. I'm really proud of it, and it's definitely a grail. It's the first interactive artwork that I've produced, and I'm so proud of it. So thank you for collecting. I promise to keep it interesting and fun for you. And I look forward to seeing you at People's Party, Big Comic Art. And I look forward to presenting you with a print of this piece. And I'm going to make it come alive with augmented reality as well so that you can enjoy it physically and also enjoy the animations too. So big shout out to Big Comic Art, my new collector. And he collected this piece right here, which I'm going to show you. So this is on Transient Labs. And even though he owns it, you can still play with it. So we've got some we got some I'll just say monsters. We got some monsters and aliens in the background. And we've got Cal here, who looks like he's gotten into a bit of a kerfuffle with a zombie because he's like half changed. But here, this harkens back to I love Looney Tunes. And to me, one of the funniest gags, not only in Looney Tunes, but just like stage performance in general, it's especially something so for people who don't know, I'm a trained actor also. And it's like one of my funniest gags in the world to me is like to add a bit of comedy is like to have something happening where the main character has no idea that's happening. To me, it's just a gag that never gets old, never gets old. So in my first iteration of this piece, I have the monster looking at him, but he doesn't know the monster's looking at him. And he looks at us, and when he's looking at us, the monster's looking at him. But when he's not looking at us, the monster's looking back like it's normal. It kind of reminds me of that joke where you're like, hey, there's something behind you. And then they turn and look and it's normal again. And then as soon as they turn back and look at you, it's messed up again. So this is like, this was like my version of that. And so let me zoom in here. So this is the monsters. You can see the monsters are looking at him. This down the bottom green monster is looking. The top pink monster is looking. They're not looking. They're looking. I ended up actually going with a different look for the monsters. This one with the yellow eyeballs and everything I thought was so funny. But the resting position, to me, it wasn't like as good. So for the resting position, I went with this because I wanted to have like a real difference when their eyes are closed from when their eyes are open. So this is closed, open. So when you play with the piece, when you play with the piece on Transient Labs, there are these different modes. And this one, you can control it somewhat from mobile. So if you tap the image, it will change modes. And also if you do a mouse click and drag. So keep your mouse depressed and drag. And when you do that, it's going to activate what I call monster glare. Monster glare, that top pink monster is glaring, given full length, looking top to bottom, looking at you like this, top to bottom, top to bottom. And then the other modes make the lights on the eyes of the masks blink and flash and do some other fun stuff. So this is this. And there are some different iterations. One of my favorites is I created kind of like a looping motion where I got the lights to kind of set off a little bit of a flicker, but it's not too much, just a little bit, which is really cool. But it didn't work as an interactive mode. It was too drastically different from the other modes. So creating an interactive art is really very much experimental in terms of there might be something that you think to do, but then actually when you try it and you actually do it, sometimes it's underwhelming. And I think the key here is just to be really honest about what's underwhelming and to really, I feel like great art is really about curating. It's really asking like, is this enough? Is it doing something? Is it anything? Not in a negative way, not in a doubting oneself kind of way, but more in the same way that I approach everything, which is, can I make this better? If the answer is no, then it's like, is this impressive? And it's not about impressing others. It's not, do I think other people will be impressed by this? But it's like, is this impressive to me? Does this make me say, ooh, ah, right? For me, if I create an animation that makes me laugh, I win. If I create an animation and I go away from it for a while, then I come back and do it, if it makes me change my face in any way, smirk, whatever, that's a win. The whole point of interactive art is to surprise, delight, or say something. So this piece definitely does all those things. And I feel like many of them do. I have so many more pieces that I'm looking forward to animate. Some of them I will animate with sound, and others I don't know what I'm going to do. This one here, I already know. I want to make roses come down from the sky. This piece is really personal for me. It's about self-love because it's really important to always be feeling yourself. Personally, I bet if you've been following me for a while, you've noticed that a lot of my characters, they have tears. So if you look on the screen right now, you see where it says one of a kind, become a friend of Pepavaggio. It's the character that's squatting on the right side of the screen. And you see all those icicle tears. A lot of my characters have tears. And the reason why is because um, I've cried a lot. And the frozen tears is like showing that I have transformed those tears into diamonds. Every tear I've ever cried has been transformed into a diamond, but not without much pain, not without great expense to myself. And there has to be an opposite of that. There has to be the opposite of crying. What's the opposite of crying? Is it laughing? Whatever it is, there has to be the opposite of that. And so what I'm showing in this image is the opposite of tears. This is the opposite of tears, right? And so I definitely know that for this, I want to have rose petals falling out of the sky and landing on this character. And I know this is going to take me some time because I want to, instead of just putting the petals on like a flat layer, I think I want to have them like interact and maybe bounce off of her at some point. So, this is one of those things. Another thing I might do is maybe have a light breeze ruffling through the hair. Uh, Maybe I'll have her eyes open and look at you. Maybe her eyes will open and she'll wink at you. Right? So these are the things I think of. And who knows? I may even do something for a certain holiday. Maybe the color of the rose will change. It just all depends. It all depends. But it's about self-love. Here's another one, right? It's about self-love. It's about feeling content within yourself. It's so important. I like to put these things out here because they help me. I probably look at my art even more than the art of some of my friends who I love, because it makes me feel something. So I want to feel good. And here are some pieces that I can show you that I've considered animating but may not. It's one of my favorites. So this is based on I'm sure you've heard about this, and I'm sorry if you haven't, I'm sorry for the bad news, but I don't know if you've heard about this nanoplastic issue that the United States and the whole world is having, that these nanoplastics are everywhere. Microplastics are everywhere. And there's nanotechnology in all the food. I know it's crazy, right? But it's true. So, we're living in this world that is fast changing, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. And so this is how I did it. So in this, we have like a human heart. You can see the ingredients are nanotechnology, microplastics, empathy, and real love. Not to be confused with the fake kind or the transactional kind that looks like love, but it's actually just transactional. It looks like love, it feels like love, but actually that person just wants something from you. Not actually love, but there's real love in the package. And so I was like, oh, this is so fun. But in terms of animating, uh, I can make the heart pump, right? I can move the people around in the background. But I think the most important thing maybe would be making the heart pump, but that would also be really gross because then I'd have to make blood squish out. I don't think I want to do that. But it just goes to show you like sometimes you can have a great image, but it's not great for animating. Right? And so that's definitely one of them. Let me see. I think what I will do is get programming now into the dynamic art engine. And so I'm going to program a piece and then I'll be back to show you after a short break.